Welcome to the channel. I am Adil. Today I am going to say a well-known story called The Broken Wing. So let's get started. The Broken Wing. There once lived an old man who had 3 sons. The older 2, Tong Tongi and Salri, were ugly and lazy, while the youngest, Il Chung, was handsome, good and hardworking. In fact, the old man loved Il Chung the most, and this made the other 2 angry and jealous. Alas, one day the old man died, leaving Il Chung at the mercy of his 2 vicious brothers. The poor boy was shaken with grief at his father's death and cried bitterly. "Oh, do stop your snivelling," said Tong Tongi. "Yes, stop your snivelling," Salri repeated. Salri was very stupid and could not think for himself, so he always repeated what Tong Tongi said. "I can't bear to see your miserable face anymore," Tong Tongi continued rudely. "I can bear," Salri began, but before he could finish the sentence, Tong Tongi had picked up Il Chung by the scruff of his neck and thrown him out of the house. He threw a crust of rye bread after him, saying, "Take this, for this is as much of our father's property as you are likely to get." Knowing that it was useless to plead with his wicked brothers, Il Chung wandered into a nearby forest. He was sensible and intelligent, and soon gathered some wood and straw to make himself a little hut. Being cheerful by the nature, Il Chung lived quite contentedly for a while, eating whatever roots and berries he could find. But winter was drawing near, and he knew that he could be cold and miserable in his little dwelling. One day, Il Chung was very, very hungry. He had searched all the morning for berries, but by the afternoon he had gathered only a handful. With a sigh, he turned homewards, when suddenly he noticed an injured bird lying in his path. As Il Chung bent to look, the bird fluttered its wing pathetically, afraid that the boy would harm him. But Il Chung only stroked its head gently. On looking closer, he saw that one of its wings was broken. Il Chung picked up the little creature and hurried home. He made a soft bed of grass for it, and without a thought for himself, fed it the berries he had collected for his own meal. Under his care, the bird soon recovered, and early one morning it flew away. Il Chung was sad to see it go, for he had come to love it. The next morning, he was surprised to hear a familiar chirping outside his door. He stepped out and saw that his friend, the bird, had returned. In its beak, it had a small seed, which it dropped at Il Chung's feet, saying, "I wish to thank you for your kindness. Plant the seed and it will bring you good fortune. He picked up the seed and planted it outside his door. When he woke the next morning, the room was still dark. Wondering if he had woken up too early, Il-chung hopped out of the bed to see if the sun had risen. As he looked out, a large soft leaf brushed against his face. He moved it aside, but all he could see was a mass of green leaves. As he pushed his way out of between the leaves, thin tendrils curled over his face and tickled his ears. "Why, it's a pumpkin plant!" he exclaimed. The plant was larger than anything he had ever seen before. It sprawled over the hut and under it and spread as far as Il-chung could see. Among the thick green leaves lay many large juicy pumpkins. Delighted that he would not have to go into the forest to look for food, Il-chung plucked a pumpkin and carried it into the house. A bright light seemed to glow as he began to cut the pumpkin. As the two halves fell apart, Il-chung gasped in wonder, for a stream of gold coins poured out of the pumpkin and tumbled onto the floor. And there were countless pumpkins yet to be gathered, each filled with a fortune in gold. Il-chung was so happy at his good luck that he picked two of the largest pumpkins and rushed to his brother's house. In spite of their cruelty to him, he wished them to share his joy. Tong-tongi and Sal-Sari were still lying in the bed and snoring loudly when Il-chung appeared with his gift. "Look what I have for you!" he cried excitedly, placing the pumpkins on a table. Tong-tongi opened one eye, and when he saw the pumpkins, he raised his eyebrows haughtily and laughed. "Why, there is only pumpkins," he said. Sal-Sari yawned and lazily raised his eyebrows too. "Why, they are," he began to say. "We don't need your pumpkins," Tong-tongi said to Il-chung. "We have plenty in our fields." "Only pumpkins? We don't have plenty in our own," Sal-Sari mumbled, trying hard to keep up with what Tong-tongi was saying. But Tong-tongi, Il-chung insisted, "They are not ordinary pumpkins. Look," and with that he cut open one of the pumpkins and the gold came rolling out. Tong-tongi and Sal-Sari had never moved so fast in their lives. As they did then, they rushed towards the gold and began to pick it up with greedily. Eagerly they cut open the second pumpkin and let the gold run through their fingers. "Hee, they chuckled. "This means less work and more play." Il-chung told his brothers about the bird with the broken wing. When they heard the story, they were consumed with jealousy. Tong-tongi scratched his head thoughtfully. He was deep in thought when he noticed that Il-chung was still standing there. He pushed him aside, saying, "Away with you. We don't need you any more than we did before." Il-chung turned away sadly. He had hoped that his brothers would let him return home, but it seemed that they still hated him. Sal-Sari and Tong-tongi called when Il Chung had gone away. Salsari, where are you? He heard a faint grunt from the floor and saw that his lazy brother had gone to sleep with his head on the gold. He kicked him on the side and Salsari jumped to his feet with an indignant squeal. Now listen, stupid, Tong Tong, he said. Tong Tongi ordered his stupid brother to go out into the forest in search of a bird with a broken wing. And woe betide you if you should return home empty-handed, he threatened. When Salsari went out, Tong Tongi settled down to count the gold. As evening drew near, Salsari began to get worried. He still had not found a bird with a broken wing. At last, in a flash of inspiration, he caught the next bird that flew by and broke one of its wings. He triumphantly took the bird to a Tong Tongi and explained how he had come by it. The brothers nursed the bird with herbs and berries, but when angered by its taking so long to heal, they frequently cursed it. At last the poor bird was ready to fly and it did so to the delight of the two greedy brothers. The next day it returned with a seed in its beak. When it dropped at Tong Tongi's feet, they planted the seed carefully and thinking about the harvest, they could not sleep all night. The next morning they were delighted to see that the plant has grown even bigger than all their expectations. Gleefully they began to bring the pumpkins into the house. When they gathered as many as they could, they took the large kitchen knife and hacked upon the first pumpkin. Imagine their horror when instead of a stream of gold coins out crawled the slimiest of snakes, lizards and frogs, shuddering at the awful sight. They threw the pumpkin away and cut open another. Pumpkin after pumpkin revealed the same creatures writhing inside. Soon the snakes began to crawl all over the room and curl around their ankles. The two brothers shrieked in terror and ran out as fast as they could. They ran out of the house and through the forest. Perhaps they ran out of the country, for they were never seen again. Thank you friends for watching my channel. Get a like, subscribe, comment, and for more such stories, kindly subscribe channel and also kindly like, share and comment the video. Thank you.